Am I interrupting anything?
No. Lord Hakira was just telling me about Ozu, how he died. I'm glad you made it back, though.
Thanks to Lord Hakira.
Unnecessary. But there is one thing that I do need your help with, if you're up to it.
Yes, I am, Lord Hakira. Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the Freelancer commentary. I accept.
I owe you one, Hakira.
Fine. Do you remember when we first met and I had lost contact with an operative of mine in Rhineland?
Yeah.
His name is von Claussen. He is an agent for the Order who operates deep in Rhineland space. He apparently has discovered vital information about Rhineland's plans, but we've had trouble contacting him. He is in terrible danger. His only chance is to be extracted.
From Rhineland?
New Berlin. You're perfect for the job because Bretonia is still neutral. I would ask Miss Zane to go, but for obvious reasons that would be inappropriate.
Right.
And besides, I'm sending her back with the Proteus tome to Dr. Quintain. You must leave at once, Mr. Trent. I will make sure you have all the information you may need. Come along, Junko.
Good luck.
I love you. Okay. All of that aside, though, yeah, in terms of what we're going to be doing today, provided you weren't paying attention to the Lord Hakira briefing, is that, yes, finally, we get to enter Rhineland space, but, a little bit easier said than done, and part of the reason... Well, again, I guess it's both for story reasons, another of which is mainly for pacing reasons, but yeah. Before you accept this, current mission, again, you can pretty much back out if you want to, but, excuse me. Yeah, that's pretty much the last opportunity you have to very much be a freelancer, because again, as is story context at this point, Rhineland is pretty much going on the warpath, bearing in mind that Rhineland is under control of the Nomads, and what they plan to do is pretty much weaken the colonies by infiltrating higher positions of government, and, well, let's just say they're planning on using the Rhineland fleet to pretty much, you know, wipe out Liberty and Kusari space, and, you know, since Rhineland and Kusari are currently at, the borders right now, the only, you know, turning vote, for lack of a better phrase, is Queen Karina. So yeah, because of the fact that Bretonia is still technically neutral at present, yeah, this creates a bit of a conflict of interest. Again, growing political tensions that were in the background before this point, are now coming to the forefront. Oh dear. But yeah, the short and sweet of what I was trying to get at earlier was basically that, again, as we progress towards, you know, the Rhineland systems, yeah, you're not really going to have a lot of chance to sort of explore around, smell the roses, mainly because, well, again, the engines of war are beginning to fire up, and, yeah, this is our current mission. We need to get Herr von Claussen, you know, out of Dodge before, you know, Rhineland finds out where he is, and, as we're going to be finding out about von Claussen, again, he was, you know, once part of the upper echelon of, you know, Rhineland's government, but, you know, because of the fact that he was the station, yeah, him and a lot of his contemporaries pretty much had to sort of turn tail and hide and, you know, yeah, good friends with the Order, in order to, you know, fight the threat from within, for lack of a better phrase. And this does also eventually, come to time, because, yeah, we are about to come off with another space battle sugar-me-doo, while, you know, Lord Hakira is pretty much our escort, but, yeah. Again, as we pretty much make our way, you know, from the Sigma systems towards Rhineland space, you know, because again, jump gates, you know, battleships guarding the entry and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, might as well talk about a few things about Rhineland space that we don't really get to see, or at least that you won't be getting to see until the post-game, where, you know, plots are pretty much solved and you can pretty much explore Rhineland space to your leisure. But yeah, Rhineland, again, basically our analog for Germany in this case, so again, you pretty much have like a lot of German cities and, you know, parts of their place, you know, given star systems. For example, you know, planet New Berlin, you know, capital city is Bonn, stuff like that, and, you know, again, you also have like a bunch of different criminal factions and, you know, aspects of its culture disseminated into Freelancer. Like, for example, the Bundschuh, basically being a political activist group that, you know, opposes the Rhineland government. You have the Red Hessians, which are, you know, in alliance with the LWB, which is pretty much a... I can't pronounce the name, so I do apologize, but yeah, basically relating to, you know, a lot of the opposition towards, you know, synth foods, you know, a lot to do with farming, really. You know, traditional stuff opposing, you know, synth foods and, you know, some more industries with their evil ways. And of course the Unionists, disgruntled Rhineland shipyard workers who are pretty much going against the government, really. So yeah, I mean, again, there's still a lot of interesting factions at play, and I suppose one of the things you could talk about in terms of Freelancer is how copy and paste some feel. Like, again, like you have the main government house corporations, you know, in terms of, you know, the Kasari, Rhineland, Liberty government and whatever. But then you also have, you know, copy-paste factions like, oh, here's the opposition. But what I will give Freelancer is that a lot of them do tend to, like, base them on real-world factions. Like, again, as I mentioned beforehand, the Earth Liberation Front being the inspiration for the Guardians, the Liberty Rogues basically being, you know, the downtrodden, oppressed American, you know, working-collar, blue-collar people, you know, rising up against the evil corporate masters. So on and so forth, really. So, again, I feel like there was enough depth there to sort of hide the copy and paste aspects to some extent, and, you know, it's interesting, really. Yeah, but in any case, so, yeah, a lot of Rhineland is pretty much there to sort of be explored, you know, in your own time in the post-game. And again, like, I mean, in terms of, you know, where you're sort of scaling up in the post-game before you, you know, take off towards the serious systems, which, again, I mean, apart from the Outcasts and Corsairs, is very much uncharted territory, and, well, let's just say, even in the post-game, regardless of what we're doing to fight the Nomads, even at this point, yeah, let's just say that the Nomads aren't exactly defeated for good, and if you're willing to venture far off into the outer limits, well, let's just say the Nomads will be waiting to greet ya. But, in any case, I'll just let this little cutscene play and be on my way.
This jump hole will take you to New Berlin. This is as far as Lord Hikira and I can go. Kasari citizens in Rhineland are being arrested on sight, or worse.
Von Claussen is awaiting you on New Berlin. It is imperative that we bring him out alive. Good luck, Trent.
Well, fare thee well, Lord Hikira. You are truly my friend. And yes, he's also voiced by George Takei, so... yeah, again, another addition to the fairly star-studded cast that we actually have of Freelancer, and, yeah, I mean, you know, John Rhys-Davies, well, again, prolific voice actors and actresses like, you know, Jennifer Hale and, you know, George Takei, obviously, Kevin Michael Richardson, and, yeah, you want to know who's also a bit of a surprise casting nod, even though he plays a small bit part in this game? Christopher Lee. I'm not going to tell you exactly what role he plays, but let's just say he's been there since the beginning. And that's all I'll say for now. But in any case, Rhineland space. It's very brown. Okay, I mean, you know, churlish jokes about the nebulas aside, yeah. This is, we are going to be seeing a little bit of it as we are given a bit of an escort towards where, you know, von Claussen is stationed. I mean, again, his safe house has been, you know, searched through by the Rhineland government at this point, so he is very much on the move, but, yeah, don't worry. We'll be picking up some clues as to where he is and, you know, making sure that we get him out okay. Well, not that he really needs help, because, I mean, von Claussen, as you'll soon discover, is a pretty capable pilot in and of himself, and, yeah, very interesting. Thank you, 9090909 preparing to land on planet New Berlin. Docking code Stuttgart. Initiating Kraftwerk. Anyway, cutscene go now.
My good sir, may we interest you in a reading for what the future may hold for you?
No, thanks.
Contact the dearly departed? Help you find someone?
No.
Mr. Blix here is never wrong about such things. He says you are looking for someone. For Herr von Claussen.
Does he speak for himself?
Mr. Blix has connections to sources on a higher plane.
And what about you?
No, not I, sir. I was gifted with being a listener. Together, we are the eyes and ears for certain people who are willing to pay for such divine services. We are in the employ of one such man now. The man you seek. You see, we have been waiting for you for some time.
Why?
To deliver a message. You are to meet Herr von Claussen on the old terraforming platform on the planet Holstein, within the Frankfurt system. Don't worry, Mr. Trent. The gods are smiling upon you. When you get there, the time will be right.
By the way, to kind of clarify, that guy doesn't have psychic abilities. It's, again, his ability to read Trent is purely because of the fact that, you know, Rhineland is a bit less stringent on alien artifacts, you know, compared to Liberty, so, yeah, that's pretty much how he was able to get the dig on, you know, Trent looking for von Claussen.
I'm Hans Fischer, a friend of Mr. Blake's. He asked me to accompany you on your way to Holstein. Follow me. We're taking the trade lane to the Frankfurt Gate. I'm also a good friend of Herr von Claussen. He and I have been providing Lord Hakera with information ever since the Nomads infiltrated the Rhineland government.
So yeah, you see, von Claussen has allies, so it's just that they can't be very public about their, you know, opposition to current forms of government, mainly because they're possessed by aliens, and, again, as Hakera had taught us, they do have the ability to possess humans as well, so, yeah, it's, quite dastardly, but there is also something that I did want to talk about in regards to, you know, something I brought up beforehand with the Nomad's plan. Again, as Hakera pointed out, they wanted to infiltrate the Sirius systems by, you know, infiltrating human bodies and putting themselves in the higher echelons of government so that they can gradually weaken the colonies. I also want to bring back something to the Outcasts. Again, I mentioned as well in this part that, you know, the Nomads are, you know, still found on the borders of the Sirius system, despite, you know, all the efforts we're going to put a stop to them, you know, during the main plot. But yeah, the Outcasts, they live in the fringes of the Sirius system, and they trade the drug cardamine, which contains traces of alien organisms. And again, this is really all to do with the fact that, you know, the Hispania ended up, you know, getting damaged towards, you know, towards its entry into the Sirius systems. It ended up drifting until, you know, it got towards the edge of that system. And again, the Outcast's plan is to get everybody addicted to cardamine so they can ascertain control of the colonies. Now, tell me, what alien plan does that remind you of? Because it seems that the implication is that basically, whether, you know, through, on a bit of a microbiotic scale, that the Nomads are basically, they've either adapted towards a human physiognomy by, you know, bonding with, you know, the Outcasts and their drug trade with the cardamine, and in turn planning to do the same for everybody else, or potentially, those organisms found within the drugs are basically how the Nomads are going to be staging a breeding ground to sort of produce them. And again, like, I mean, it's not just specifically found on, you know, planetary surfaces either, because again, if you go into the Omicron systems, you'll actually start seeing, like, bits and pieces of bacteria floating around within the star systems of the nebulas and clouds. So yeah, there's the entire idea that the Nomads are basically, well, again, they can survive even in the vacuum of space, and, well, they're grown. But don't worry, you'll be able to see a lot of that by the time we actually start to, you know, take on the Nomads good and proper, because again, they don't just require humans in order to get a lot of this stuff done. They do in fact have a fleet, armada, and indeed, well, many different subcategories of their species alone, and well, let's just say, I do really like how they characterize them as an alien race. Like, I mean, again, it's like, very organic in nature, and also very, well, devious, crafty, and again, it's saying something that, you know, the Nomads in and of themselves are interesting enough to carry on, you know, to carry the game as villains in and of themselves, but they weren't even, you know, the main reason why a lot of this is around to begin with. Like, I mean, all the artifacts and technology left behind, that was from the Dom Kavosh, which, yeah, you know what, somewhat sadly, I did always wish for a Freelancer too to sort of explore a bit more of the Dom Kavosh culture, where they came from, what they were like, and, well, more importantly, what happened to them. And again, I suppose in many aspects, again, you know, the mystery is probably a little bit more compelling than, you know, the answer we get, as is the case with, you know, some, you know, conspiracies and, you know, mysteries, as we hear in both, you know, real life and in storytelling, but, you know, either way, it's fascinating to me. Yeah, I do apologize for talking over this Akira cutscene. He's basically saying that, yeah, we're changing rendezvous points and we need to reconvene elsewhere, so cutscene go now. Oh no, wait, no, this was not cutscene go now, this was other thing. Dearie me, I failed again. Actually, you know what, I'll switch out the cutscene for this scene. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Trent, this is Hakera. We have a slight change to our extraction plan. It is no longer possible for you to return to Kusari. The Rhineland fleet has invaded Honshu. We will rendezvous with you in the Hamburg system. I will transmit precise coordinates later. Hakera out.
Here we are. I've got a rendezvous with the Bundschu agent on the southwestern continent. Give my regards to Herr von Claussen. Good luck, Trent.
don't follow, buddy.
I don't think so.
Good. I can't say how pleased I am to see you. Jana and Blix told me you were coming.
Interesting pair.
Blix took the liberty of reading your thoughts while you were on New Berlin. I'm sorry for the intrusion. I had to be sure that whoever Hackett has sent had not been tampered with. A man in my position can never be too careful.
I understand. Now let's get you out of here while we still can.
No argument here, Mr. Trent.